Speaking of moving on, I don't always do this, and we do from time to time, but where do we really begin to recap this last trading year? Now we can look back and say, hey, SPY is up 14.6% from where it opened or closed on January 2nd, 2020. QQQ is up 44%, believe it or not, from the open on January 2nd to today's midday trading near the close as well, from 216 up to 313. We've seen Tesla, Apple, and other tech stocks really rocket up. And of course, Tesla and Apple had those big news splits around September as well. But there's so much to unpack during this, and not every stock was good. I don't want to pick anyone particularly, but we had a lot of questions, and a lot of times NKLA, Nikola, would appear in the searches for credit spreads or even covered calls because of the high volatility and the high premiums and the high trend that it had. Wasn't necessarily a good quality stock that promised to be as much as it was it? So it started down in the 10 area, just trading in the 15 area. Still looks like a good return for the year, but at one point up near almost 95, and then it crashed hard over the next several months. Not every stock was a winner. And we saw so much. Technically, we saw 5 months of March, 4 months of April, 3 months of May. Remember back during that first decline, something that I'd never seen before in my trading, 3 market halts in 6 sessions. That was in the beginning of March. The market actually halted for 10, 15, sometimes 40 minutes, I believe, before it came back. It was almost that term we don't want to say, unprecedented. A lot of effects on Main Street, which trickled into Wall Street, but then the stimulus and the Fed intervened, and the markets did what they did and did what we saw in the last couple of slides, and have been very profitable for those of us that were able to take advantage of it. Instead of recapping the entire year, what could have been, and discussing what ifs and whatnots, let's just discuss our community. In 2020, we shared, commented, and posted over 186 videos. Our top topic, the top category discussion on the posted YouTube videos, all the discussions that we had, of course, was terms involving married put, protected put, and income methods. 39 of the 186 videos posted this year were related to that strategy. The married put concept, 31, 6 for the income methods, and 2 that revolved around protected put. Second place over this year for the posted videos was covered calls. We had 25 videos related to covered calls, mostly related to rolling deep in the money covered calls, which we're actually going to take a look at in a little bit. Covered call criteria and structure, as well as other random covered call discussions, timing, the risk reward, and of course, adding protection to a covered call position by creating a collar or maybe going deeper in the money. Different ways that you could approach that. Next in line, the credit spread strategy had the most videos this year. Third most, we should say, 18 total videos, about 10%. 15 were related to bull put credit spreads, 3 were related to bear call credits. And then, of course, calendar spreads, diagonal, PMCC, stands for poor man's covered call. 14 of the 186 videos were related to that strategy. We talked about structure and criteria, guidelines for setting up the structure and setting up the trade, comparing horizontal same strike spreads versus diagonal, different strike spreads, pros and cons, a webinar or 2 on management ideas as well. So those were the top 4. And then we get into this area. Debit spreads, buying calls, buying puts, selling cash secured naked puts, straddles, and strangles. We had 6 videos on each of those 4 strategies, or 3.2% of the total for each. Well, really 6 strategies, maybe even 8 if you count the discussions on straddles and strangles. Some of them were discussing short straddles and short strangles. And other times we discussed buying straddles and buying strangles around earnings, or for longer term growth on broad-based indexes and ETFs, as Sam tends to approach from time to time as well. All right. Now, going on that, the rest of the strategies, just 3 topics on iron condors, 3 topics on ratio spreads, and 2 discussions on butterflies that we had during 2020. But there were other discussions that we had. General content, the term search/criteria is 21 times, 11.4%. The discussions on market hedge or portfolio hedge, concepts of using broad-based indexes to hedge a leveraged portion of your portfolio or to hedge a larger portion as well. We had 16 videos that involved market hedging and portfolio hedge. Market sentiment tool, 13 different videos, 7% of the 186 we posted this year were related to the market sentiment tool, how to use it, how it can guide you to exits, entries, and more. Speaking of exits and more, discussions on exiting positions of any kind, management, and triggers to exit a position came up 5.9% of the time, 11 videos related to that, 8 discussions on earnings, and 6 discussions on implied volatility. We also had 6 discussions over the year on using the stock repair tool to help you get back to break even faster. So other major details that, yes, we post many of our videos to PowerOptions, but we post all of the videos and made public on YouTube. And this year, the YouTube views, the videos reviewed 203,700 times. Over 36,000 hours of video were watched. My wife says she feels for all of your ears because she can't stand my voice for longer than 10 minutes. Our subscribership, our community for YouTube gained over 2,300 new members in the last year. So thank you all for listening, of course, and thank you for joining us. And thank you for sending in your questions for all of the great content and commenting on these as well.